Now that we have done that, let's move on to the formation of peptide bonds. So we'll talk about the peptide, we'll talk about polypeptide, and we go on and on like that. Okay, let me quickly make a correction here. This proline, and under the polar amino acid I mentioned aspartame. That should be asparagine. So please take notes. It should be asparagine. So now let's move forward to the formation of peptide bonds. Formation of peptide bonds. Now I mentioned something in the beginning of the video that protein is made up of several amino acid residues joined together. So this leads us to the formation of peptide bonds. Now, you know, when you have one amino acid and another amino acid, then what you have is a peptide bond occurs. So, you know, for a peptide bond to form is a form of a form of water is removed. Water is removed. I'm trying to remember the term to use for that. Now let's go. Okay, yes, it's a form of dehydration reaction. Now let's go. Now this is an amino acid. This is an amino acid. This is the side chain there. So now it wants to join with another amino acid. So what we have is this. So we also have another amino acid, N. Okay. Can you see? So now for it to join, do you know what will happen? There will be interaction between this hydroxyl here, OH, and between this H. So now this is this is what will happen. Can you see? This is what will happen. So when it happens like that, water will be released. Okay, let me extend it a bit. So water will be released in the process. So this will wipe off. Then our product will now be, so now look at it. So our product will be NHHCHR. Then we have C. Now look at it, CO. So this will release water. So we now have NH. Then we have C. Okay, same way. There was COOH. Now can you see? So now okay, sorry, plus water, H2O. So that's from here. The water is gotten from here. This one release hydrogen, this one release hydroxy. So now it happens like that. Now this part is called the peptide bond. Peptide bond. So that's the peptide bonds. Are you getting it? Now one thing I want to show you about peptide bonds is that there is always an N terminal and there's always a C terminal. Now look at it in a peptide bond. There's always an N terminal. For example, this is a protein, you know, when two or more amino acids join, we have protein. Now this is the N terminal. That's the NH2 part. So this is the C terminal, that's the COH part. So protein always begin with N. It has N at one end and C at the other end. It terminates with N at one side and C at the other side. So that's that. Now we could continue having several of amino acids joined together. For example, now in ribonuclease, one of the proteins we have in the body, we have 124 amino acids. We have 124 amino acids. So the same goes like that like that. So in insulin, for example, we have 51 amino acids. Are you getting it? So we could keep having, we can continue having amino acids joined together, several hundreds of them joined together. So it will lead us to to get a particular protein. So now, let's talk about the term polypeptide. When you talk about polypeptide, what are you really talking about? You're talking of the that means you have more than one peptide. So that's the term poly. So let's go. Let me quickly illustrate something. For example, now look at this basic. Now I can decide to have, for example, longer amino acid residues. So these are amino acid residues because water has been removed. Now look at something